Hey everybody, welcome back to Numenera Rising Helix, Occultists Anonymous, all the fun things. You know what I'm talking about here. At the beginning of every episode, we thank those of you out there who support us with Roll20 and our generous patrons, whose names are Adele, Ethan Alice the Mad, Al, Alexander Williams, Alpha Wolf 2803, Alsric, Bernie, Buck Gregory, Chris Handforth, Doc, Emil, Ethan Cobb, George. Have a Shibari time. Oh. I'm the Real 06. James Winfield, John Fitzgerald, Josh Drew, Camo, Cat Feathers, Klaus, Long Live the Queen, Melissa, Michael, Milo V3, Mindful Mentoring, Mending Missing Memories, Moku, Mozart D Minor, Other Guy, Perry, Food, Porter, Puppeteer, Riafia, Ryan, Sean Keller, Shexana, Thomas Vogel, Toast, Vincent Hamilton, Vortex Falcon 00, What's a Circle, Why Gender When You Can Serve the Iron Pyramid, and Sultan Committee. Thank you so much, y'all.
Happy Pride, y'all.
Happy Pride, everybody.
I'll date this video.
I had it before I could. That's homophobic.
It's not quite how that works, Chris.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
Gonna mansplain me too.
Headphones off. Wouldn't it be funny if we had some means of making it look like we were all in the same room or in like the next room over? So like Drew could walk to the left and act like he was reaching past to grab Chris's shoulder.
Just gonna have printouts of your faces and just sort of
Your brains.
Yes.
Listen here, Chris.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm fully in support of such hilarity. So we return to our ongoing story in the Ninth World when our intrepid individuals are exploring the Numenera and the ramifications of 1,000 years of progress without their direct presence or intervention. What happened in the last session? Why don't you remind us to get us up to speed?
Reuven discovered the magic of teleportation
Yes.
and used it to solve some of the group's problems.
Yes.
Actually, it wasn't even really our problems. It was the
We solved the Lattimors problems.
Lattimors. That's the word. Yep.
Mhm.
Made
And
their
also,
life much easier.
Theoretically, the elves as well.
Mm-hmm. Also true. Found joy. Confirmed was joy.
Hope.
That's the one. I need to go back to the video edit real quick on YouTube. What did I write? In a mad scramble Wednesday night.
Her name's Joy. She represents hope.
Yeah, fair. She doesn't know what her name is.
She doesn't know anything.
True.
She's been awake for too long.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She had been, and she went into the nigh eternal sleep. Got shoved in a, shoved in a back to tank. Right.
Actually, that's true. Because I know Vet was working on that. Did we actually resolve that she got her memories back? Okay, because I remember training the Lattimors.
Yep.
Yeah, I was teaching them to do it so that we could work together to get her.
Yes.
That was the week that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
That's
right.
why we were
That's right.
taking time to also take folk stuff like that.
Lattimors.
Exactly.
And teleporting groups of people at a time to
Indeed.
the village of the elves.
Yep.
Also
So that we
did
can
some
have
big.
some cool side by side community building and
Yeah,
mutual assistance.
that's right.
Buildings are 3 times the size. The math doesn't exactly you don't just triple everything. It's a whole thing. It took me hours to calculate.
Folks, you heard it here first. The math is not mathing.
There you go. Yes. So you impressed the Lattimores quite considerably. You learned some things about their history. Reuven validated a hypothesis that they had about what was going on. why they were so big.
Mhm.
And so you understood that the jungle was also a site of a translocation event that resulted in something pretty terrible happening. You learned as well that many of these translocation events cause devastation on the opposite side of the planet, either through some direct horrible thing that happens or a change, the movement of something that will then lead to something horrible, like 1,000 years of pursuit, predation by these weird Vanta black octopods is a pretty terrible thing. So, but hey, you get big and you get strong. That's win-win, right? In RPGs, if suddenly you become level 6 because your ancestors died, that's great, right? It's like starting with an expansion in a video game, right? Like, who wants to start level 1? You don't you want to start level 70 or 80?
You bought the skip.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
DLC comes
See?
with trauma pre-installed.
Yes. That's right, exactly. Cultural trauma and strange responsibilities.
And the magic powers it gives you.
That's right, exactly.
Just a reminder, Girl by Moonlight now on
By
Backer
Moonlight,
Kid.
now. Fuck off.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Too good. Good.
All right, so yeah, I think we resume. Go ahead, Drew.
And the very last thing we were resolving was the realization for Blaze that
his entire life is a lie.
thank you.
Yes. As far as he sees it.
Yes. Everything he's ever believed is a lie.
It's not, though.
Mm-mm.
Mm,
The origin
debatable.
the origin might be lost to the fog of time, but doesn't change that you have a belief and stand by it.
We learning English incorrectly because we have cultural drift of how it's spoken.
But his whole deal is we don't use Numenera so that we don't have to, so we don't rely on it, which will increase our odds of surviving when the next world comes.
Yes.
And then everything about him is Numenera. Everything that he can do comes from Numenera. He's been relying on Numenera without knowing it for his entire life.
I'm going to try and skirt around this and say it very nicely in general. Can we maybe think of like a worldwide sort of thing that people believe in where the origins of belief and the current execution are maybe not in alignment? And that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong.
Yeah.
Or that it's been like corrupted or anything. It's just
right. And I wasn't speaking like globally. I was thinking this is what Blaze is trying to unpack and process.
Yeah.
You know, I'd also like to add a little additional detail that I think it made sense that wasn't clear to Blaze, but I'd like to emphasize for all of us, right? That the plans made to develop people into who they are was definitely a consequence of Numenera. And the original purpose of the Order was to master Numenera to stop bad people who were heavily reliant on it and who used it to harm people. So the spirit that how Blaze's order progressed is still present. And I don't think I said that oh, great. Yeah. So I remember now. I said that Faye and Reuven saw plans for the tattoos that were distinctly a consequence of Numenera. However, I didn't say that there was like a list of all the training that had happened that was exclusively a result of Numenera. So Blaze is completely welcome to interpret it that way. I just realized I might not have emphasized that I wasn't trying to say that everything specifically in the Order was a result of Numenera, just that the beginnings were certainly, we all know as much as we can about Numenera because these people are using it to harm others and we need to stop them. And there are all kinds of ways that we might want to do that. So that's all.
So a lot for Blaze to unpack.
Yes, absolutely. It's a tremendous amount. And I think his perspective is completely legitimate. So just in case for everybody, you know, us collectively as a story, understood that. And then also, Blaze learned about the origin of the poem. that he's been
Mhm.
curious about for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Craig needs a refresher on that.
Sure. The poem was written about one of the progenitors of the order who stood fast against a tyrant in the past who had acquired the means to harness the iron wind and direct it.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Yes, and so he studied, or they studied nanites repeatedly, became an expert on nanites and the iron wind itself. And then during their final confrontation, they stood stalwart in the iron wind and remained unchanged as it passed over them.
Right. Yeah, that all comes back to me.
Yeah.
Which was fascinating for Blaze because that's not anything he was ever taught. It was just sort of
Yeah.
a rumor or a whisper that circulated informally amongst the adherents of his order.
Yeah.
It was never spoken about openly or taught or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it appears that it was at least observed or discussed, right? Like, because the specifics of how it happened, other than, hey, this person knew a lot about what's needed to appreciate what the iron wind does, and it led to them understanding the process so much that they were able to voluntarily participate in what happens when nanites influence your body. And they chose to be who they were even after the iron wind passed. So, yeah,
Like,
the things. Go ahead.
I was just like, that's where you get the different schools of martial arts. Yeah, there's that group that handles the iron wind, and then you got that other group that does this absolutely terrifying disaster, and they just like, yeah, it's no big deal. And then you just have your different schools of Numenera food.
So the other thing that didn't get resolved yet, was what happens when you remove Hope from the tube, because it was going to take Reuven a week to carefully use the geode to get it to a point where you could make Hope sleep, so that you could then take Hope away. And Hope's memories haven't been restored yet because that wasn't the immediate priority, right? And I don't think you declared. Let me see. I had some questions for you that we can relatively quickly resolve, or resolve in a relatively straightforward fashion. Yeah. You haven't taken Hope out yet. You also haven't decided what you're going to do about the monoliths, if anything at all, because you know that they're a power amplification network relying on small shards of tronic amber. And or at least I didn't hear. You might have decided, but I don't remember hearing if a choice was made. Let's see. I don't think you have. Yeah, okay, that's where we are. Yep.
The only other little thing I can remember is we also know of a suitable time travel opportunity, because that's floating out there. But I think that was like months or years.
3 years.
3 years.
You know of a situation wherein you might be able to harness a sufficient amount of power to generate a translocation event that could reverse things.
That won't be catastrophic.
Theoretically possible. It won't be catastrophic. Yes, that's right. You are certain that it is possible. You're not certain that it will definitely happen. Whereas many of the others, there was no chance that it wouldn't cause devastation. The first one, for sure, was going to cause devastation. And you see records of that at the beacon, right? There's historical records of the translocation events over the 1,000 years, and others that have happened in the past. That's where we are, from my perspective. So the things need to be decided. What happens when you remove Hope from the tube, and what are you going to do with the monoliths? And what's the plan? What's the plan, y'all?
I think right now Faye's primary plan is making sure the Lattimors are moved and kind of integrated with the elves, just because that's like the building side of things. But once that's resolved, like between Reuven and Vet, that handles Hope. So then Faye pivots to checking in on Blaze. So that's Faye's current plans. The monoliths will be a curious thing later.
I mean, there's no reason that we can't come back, right?
Yes, that's absolutely true.
We don't have to
The only
I
thing
don't
we
think
won't
Reuven's-
have is the beacon running.
Mm-hmm.
which is like tracking these instabilities or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, there's no reason why can't like come back and work a shift.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we know right now with the info we have, right? So that would
That's
be
exactly right.
that would be Reuven's. Like, I don't think it would have occurred that we need to do something with them yet,
Great.
because like we can just come back, fine.
Cool. Perfect.
Which is like the perfect sort of dramatic irony take when something does go wrong, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah, I
as
think we
far as-
fully established there was no like pressing concern to keep the beacon up and running.
There's
yeah.
no apparent pressing concern.
So yeah, Reuven's main concern is just being a pilot for a while, and then
Cool.
getting everyone set up and assisting with that. They're
All
not.
right.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting thing for Reuven, I think, because they're very clearly like the reason that this is possible and so easy. But like, I think, and we didn't really touch on it in the first time skip, but like, Reuven has an interesting sort of thing where like they don't really want to be the like center of attention of this community, but like
Yeah.
they're for the most part the only one that understands how all these things work.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see like, it will be interesting to see like what the Lattimors do technologically and how that interacts with the elves and stuff like that. And so Reuven is very interested to like take a step back a little bit once this like meeting and merger of tribes happen. Not that they like won't be helping in things, but like they don't want to feel like they're doing everything for these people.
Yeah, it makes sense what you said. And yeah, I think I look forward to seeing how Reuven accommodates that.
Is there anything that needs to be like done or decided about what to do with them?
No, not really.
No, it's just kind of like at the end of the week I'll have figured out how to get her sort of fed a intravenous slurry of geode juice.
Gourd
So she
juice.
can go for real to sleep.
Yeah, and a sufficient quantity or sufficient concentration.
Right.
You need a dose that's appropriate, and I think that was the thing that you wanted to be really careful about: a dose, and then also a delivery method, considering where she's in. Whereas with most people, they eat some of the geode, right? If they sleep every year, and it works, but she hasn't slept for
She might need
100 years or something.
big juice of it.
Big
Yes.
juice,
So what
but
happens?
not too much to put in permanent coma. Fine tuning.
Yeah, exactly. And she's already asleep in a kind of sleep, weird state. So it's like you want to change it from a near permanent coma to.
This is why anesthesiologists make hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yes.
a year.
Like there's no calculation of height and weight. I mean, there's a guesstimate there, but then sorry, you have red hair. Hang on, we have to crank it, which is wild.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you all had an opportunity to declare anything else you're doing at the beacon or engaging with it before we move on in the narrative.
I don't think I had anything.
Okay.
I had some good
Mhm.
interpersonal stuff last week,
Oh.
but I don't think I had any more to touch on. So.
Okay, great. So at the end of the week, Lattimors are all transported. There was, of course, a shock when Reuven first arrived and said, "Hey, I'm going to bring people who are 15 feet tall."
Mm-hmm.
That's
then
and
they
Faye went
came.
with them for that
That's right.
as
Oh,
well.
that's right. Indeed.
Mhm.
Yes, that's right. They did take it relatively in stride, in part because you are experienced travelers. And when you told them that you had found Hope, Lon wept and was speechless and just is eagerly awaiting Hope's return.
Also crying because he has to clean up the house after how many years she's been gone. Woo!
Also, Shore became a real problem when he heard that, because Shore got super excited, and Shore likes to talk, and Shore started talking about all the things he was eager to tell to Hope, and because he doesn't have to sleep
or breathe.
Right? I mean, it's a problem for him, right? You helped him with the defragmentation, right? The equivalent of that, right? But he can just stay up and constantly talk. So Shore had to get isolated because he was constantly trying to tell everybody about the stories he was going to tell Hope, the things he was going to tell her verbatim. So he was just telling the stories that he's already going to tell. It wasn't summaries, just at all hours of the day, all the hours of the night, constantly excitedly talking about it without interruption. So
we've created a monster.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Faye is going to create a bird cage with one of those little blackout, things. It's like, Sure, when you are in here, it is sleep time.
It's nighttime.
We just stop.
The blanket over and everything.
Yep.
So I think we can kill 2 birds with one stone there. Sort of manage Lon's expectations. Well, okay, bad choice of words, but we can manage Lon's expectations and puff up the bird a little bit by she doesn't remember anything.
Yeah.
That will come in time, but initially, like Lon, she may not recognize you and that kind of thing.
The non-euphemistic or aphorism, whatever the word is for it, version of that statement is also something that Blaze would have just said. I feel like.
That's funny.
I was like, what? So, like, in my head, I'm like, what other bird are you going to kill?
The competitive one.
Yeah.
Blaze is like,
yeah, it's time to put
not
that
good
one
for
down.
you, kid. Yeah. So, there is something that happens right at the end of the week that we need to engage with. So, Reuben has made an appropriate dose to induce natural sleep for Hope that she will then come out of 2 weeks later. Vet knows that the memories can be accessed and dealt with while people are asleep, while they're naturally asleep, not while they're in the nigh eternal sleep, right? Nearly dead. And when you go to remove her from the tube, you probably, I think it's reasonable to assume that you probably ask for or accept assistance from the Lattimors, considering they put her in the tube. If not, it's totally okay. Glaive is actually the one who understands this part more. There is a dialogue, or there is a prompt that comes up on the console that had been up before when you first explored the console, but it comes up again, and it's now intelligible to you because you've dealt with these machines for a week and you've explored them thoroughly. And the dialogue is dump cache, restore native AI, deactivate beacon. These are all questions.
Oh, that's some interesting
AI
choices.
might be interesting.
Can I dig into if there's any more context for these?
Sure. How do you want to do that?
I mean, seeing what the routine or trying to figure out what the process that these things are referring to means.
Sure. Please make a difficulty 6 understanding Numenera roll.
Really?
Really?
Cool.
Dang.
Needed 6. Rolled a 3.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right. Reuben gets nothing, and it's like, well, your guess is it is mine, yo.
I feel
Reuben-
like deleting a cache is bad. That is my entirely uninformed opinion. I don't think we should delete things from it.
Okay.
Yeah, Reuben is wondering if the like weird sort of Numenera-esque logic of this is that the what did you say, the native AI?
Yes,
Is that what you said?
restore native AI is what it says on the console, the prompt.
If that refers to Hope's like memories and stuff, because she seems to be even further like gone than like Lon and all that, right?
Hope seems as though, because of the duration of her sleep and engagement with technology and her lack of socializing, that she's become more removed from the original personality that she has. And she lost her memories. So,
Right.
what does she have? That's her
So-
identity.
Does not seem to Reuben at this moment that being in this thing for so long has caused a further sort of mechanization of her personality.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Just because she was
Cool.
She wasn't fully herself, because she lost all her memories, and she is in a nigh eternal sleep and engaging a computer, and so that's kind of filtering the way that she behaves. But it doesn't give you the impression that she has become, in effect, a non-person and digital entity.
Cool.
Yep.
Reuben is through a lifetime of, at this point, fucking around and finding out, wary on doing any of these things, because
Yes.
the Numenera honestly seems to
Yep.
be working just fine.
I especially wouldn't want to mess with it until we get her out.
Also
I would be
true.
worried that like turning on an AI might fry her or
Okay.
something.
Going to overwrite the host with a AI core.
Right.
But if we can remove her, then maybe the AI can make it run.
Okay.
It won't need a brain
These are,
to
like,
run.
pre-extraction routines that are trying to run.
Mhm.
Right.
That's what it is. These things would take effect after you remove Hope.
Right.
The prompt came up upon the attempt to remove it.
Sure.
And the Lattimors. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Craig.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Glaive didn't say anything about that when you were first engaging it and thinking about making the compound, because they actually didn't decipher the message that was on the console. You became capable of deciphering the message. It's in an unknown. Well, let's not say an unknown script. It was unclear to you when you were first going through it, but now it is. It's come up a second time.
Do we think that there's a chance this AI might have access to defense mechanisms and things like that? I was thinking more from a protect us and our.
There's
people that are
no
with
shot
us.
Reuben's turning on this AI. I will say that.
Okay.
There's like,
So, yeah, the AIs in a complex, and especially a highly technological complex, probably have access to all of the various systems. And I would say it's not unreasonable to guess that there might be something defensive, some weaponry somewhere housed. It's a complex work of Numenera, so maybe it does something else than just monitoring.
I
I think it would be challenging for Reuben to determine that, considering what happened with the first roll. If you had succeeded, the other one, that one would have been easier. But this one, I don't think it's going to make sense for you to attempt it. If somebody else wants to try and decipher it. Go ahead. I'm speaking over you, Chris.
No, that's pretty much kind of what I had.
Okay, cool.
I would say Ruben is, like I said, unlikely to want to turn on the AI. And wary to turn off the beacon lest it not turn back on.
Okay. Gotcha. Sound good. So you're not dumping the cache, you're not restoring the AI, and you're not deactivating beacon. Is that right?
Like I said, I mean, this is definitely like I'll leave it to the group thing.
Okay.
Because like Ruben's like, I got no idea what this stuff is. So like, vibe check, group vote.
I mean, I think the AI might not be a terrible idea, but like once she's out, once we're good to go, because we know that it needs a thinking thing to operate it.
Yep.
All right. Faye's going to say it. We're going to pull her out. And we're going to plug me in. And then we're going to turn the AI on.
I don't like that.
Yes!
My entire focus is merging mind with machine. Bring it the fuck on.
Do it.
Gonna be sitting back here like this.
I have 6 intellect edge. I have so much brain power. Faye also doesn't understand Numenera at all. So that'll be fun. But
this is
do it.
Now fully turned into, in Ruben's brain, instantly the thing that should happen. This makes sense as a story, as a like plot progression. No, you're right.
Yeah, it's okay.
I also happen to know all the weak points. I have +3 damage to all devices, automatons, and other machines. Bring it on.
Yeah.
So if it does try to kill us, you think you can kill it instead?
I mean, disable. Because I want to keep it.
Okay.
An AI familiar?
I mean, if you're very certain.
Pretty sure.
Awesome. This is great. I want this to happen.
Okay.
I'm just sitting back here nervous because I'm like, I don't
Remember,
even know if I would know that it's killing you.
Yeah.
I mean, plug into telepathy and join the group call. I'm sure it'll be fun. Just remember, stay close to Reuven. If shit hits the fan.
Oh, we just had a group ego death over here. It's fine.
I think.
Yeah, it was like into Faye's mind when they died. It was great.
Well, I think if
It was
the AI
fine in
is
Pacific
good enough,
Rim.
I think the AI is good enough. Faye won't even know if they're being killed. So.
Is that comforting?
No,
but out of character, nope.
This is so good.
Again,
So good.
he has
I want
a
to have some
inability with understanding Numenera.
I love it. Okay, so how are you doing this? You're going to jump in the tube? You're going to get immersed in the Bacta, or are you going to like try and plug in
No. I'm not getting
Matrix style on the floor?
Yep.
Plug into.
I have the plugs, man. Like
right.
Faye, I think Faye has it's my hole. It's shaped for me. Like we're going in.
Yeah.
It's like, hang on,
Like
there's
that's
a
your little Shadowrun data jack tube to plug in.
Yep.
Yes.
The just
thing.
for good luck, Ralph, would you be okay? Because it only takes me an hour. I have 2 more cipher slots, so I'm gonna roll real quick on the random table and see what I might have on hand when I decide to do this terrible fucking idea.
Absolutely. I told you over the course of the week that there's plenty of stuff there to harvest for ciphers.
Mm-hmm.
And you also could have likely spent time making artifacts if you had so chosen to do so. But I think your attention was directed elsewhere.
Right.
So,
yeah, he was definitely doing a lot of buildy stuff.
Yep. Go right ahead.
All right.
Roll it up.
I'm going to have the stuff from
This is such a good point to break to 5:30. Yep. Oh, it's so good.
All right, 43. That's a installation enhancer.
I feel like that might help
That doesn't feel like a thing I should necessarily let loose. And an object replicator. Hang on, let me look that up.
Yeah.
Can we spin that installation enhancer to be in your favor, though? It would knock down the installation you're attacking.
Let's see. Installation enhancer attached to the installation increases the level of it by the level of the cipher, which you'll still have to roll for about an hour. And then the object duplicator, which replicator I skimmed, replicates 3 additional copies of most objects whose level is equal or less than the cipher's level. A unit of iotum can be replicated, but not functioning ciphers, artifacts, or similar devices. Cool.
Like permanently? They don't go away?
Correct.
Could we interpret that 2 level to be just attach it to an installation and it moves it 2 levels in your favor?
There will be an effect. I think Faye could make it do something beneficial.
Reuben also has like ways to just like shut this thing down.
Yep.
That's good. That's a good idea.
Installation. All right, chat. I'm typing really hard because I'm typing fast.
All right, so you plug in. Let's resolve the cipher in a moment. Unless, you think you're going to use it?
No, I don't think I'm going to be using it beforehand. I just wanted to write it down.
Great, sounds good to me. Okay, so you're plugging in. You plug in like laying on the ground or something, or you pull up a chair and you plug a tube, a cable into a port. It's in the back of your head.
Yep.
Great, gotcha. Cool. All right, please make a difficulty 8 intellect defense test.
Ha! Ha! I say. Remind me how to do defense,
or when we turn on the AI.
No, when he plugs in.
Interesting.
And this is just it would be basically a regular intellect roll, right?
Okay. Yes, unless you can apply intellect defense. That is a skill you can have, just like speed defense or might defense. And if you have any assets, they apply. And yeah, of course, you can apply effort to it, just like any other. Intellect edge counts when you're trying to defend it with making an intellect defense test, just like speed or might defense.
I think for this, I would give you my headband. It's a +1 int headband.
It literally increases my pool?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was an asset or not. Okay.
That's awesome. Mine goes down by 5.
Oh, wow.
Wait, so I get +1?
It's part of, yeah. It's part of the having mental powers.
Wait, hang on. What happens if I take it off and give it back to you? Mine gonna go down by 5?
No.
I don't know, because, you don't need it.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. It's part of your special. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's part of the focus thing.
That gives me a nice
I think I can give it to you.
It's okay for now.
Yep. That gives me a nice round intellect pool of 30.
Great.
Yeah. And we mentioned before, Ralph, I'm going to assume it's okay to use See the Future before I plug up because that seems relevant. So that gives me an asset on that.
You've said you're going to do this, so you use See the Future and you are suddenly apprehensive in an ambiguous way.
That's fine. Cool. I'm going to use all 4 effort, slightly wishing I had taken effort instead of edge, but that's fine. Yeah. And intellect roll.
All right, excellent. Cool. You feel what do you feel?
Point of order. Hang on, because I think I get to double that asset. So it would bring it down to 2, which I would still lose. Never mind. Disregard.
Right, you still missed by 1.
Yep, still missed by 1. Okay, never mind. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. You suddenly feel a yawning abyss, and then your consciousness is paused, but you can't really experience paused consciousness. But you do anticipate a yawning abyss, right? And then the rest of you see Faye's body go slack, and you see the button Restore Native AI. Yes, activated on the console. The button for deactivate the beacon, no. And the cache dump, yes. And I'm going to tell you what happens after the break.
All right, guys. So full disclosure, I wasn't happy playing Faye, so I bring it in. It's gonna
Faye's
look.
not dying,
he's gonna look
but it's a problem.
just like Faye, exactly like Faye, just completely different character.
Hooray!
Yes.
Oh Lord, I have no idea what's happening. This is terrific.
It's real good. Yep. Alrighty. See you in 10. So, what happens when you take a cable and plug it in the back of your head and lay down and surrender yourself to the full digital might of a strange construct of Numenera? I'll tell you what happens. So, as I said, the cache got dumped, the native AI was restored, and the facility was not deactivated. Oh, sorry, the cache was dumped. Yeah, great. Yep. And the facility was not deactivated. The next thing you see is all the lights go out, and then they turn back on, and it is a violet color. It's a dim violet color.
It's not scary red, so that's clearly a positive.
Mm-hmm. The next thing is all of a sudden a portal opens in the roof.
Define portal.
A
conventional like irising, or swirly magical
a diaphragm slowly starts opening in the roof, and descends, and the walls gradually open, exposing this facility to the jungle. Now, what time of day did you do this? Was it at night or during the day?
Oh, I'm sure it was bright and early.
Wonderful. Great. So
we moved everybody out, got everybody settled, then came back and did this.
Fantastic. Wonderful. This is great. Okay, so now you are bathed in the intense light of the sun. And now you can't see those lights anymore, of course, right? Because they were dim. And now that the diaphragm is open and the walls have descended into the ground, which are like, effectively a shield, right? You hear the sounds of the jungle, and then you hear them cut off. Like there's some kind of sound insulation, like a sound barrier. Were any of the Lattimors there with you when this happened?
It was, in my opinion, no, but I don't know if the rest of the gang.
Jack probably was.
Okay.
They've been hanging out with me to do adventures.
Like the last trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were turning off the lights before we.
Yep.
Plug me in.
So to be clear, this is not what Drew sees. This is what all of us see, right?
Yes, Drew does not see any of this. Drew witnesses or experiences a yawning abyss, and then consciousness is interrupted.
Okay.
So, yep. Or Faye sees that. Drew.
I just see your lovely faces.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm intrigued enough to let it continue, but I do have a stop this right now power.
Cool.
And I'm like, fingers on the button.
Yeah.
I would basically, as soon as Faye went catatonic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would have tried to just like reach out with the mind reading to see if I can find anything there.
Okay. You find anything in Faye?
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
What do I have to roll for that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. In this case, you are going to have to make a roll. You have connected with him before. He cannot give consent, and his mind isn't functioning the way it was before. So this is difficulty 8 to try and engage him this way. And you're not obligated to spend anything or roll this if you don't want to, knowing the difficulty.
Okay, and my pool is down by 5, but that doesn't affect anything except for like cost, right?
Yes, right. Okay.
We are
You-
cursed today.
We're real bad at
Nobody
dice
rolled
today.
any more dice.
I don't recall
Roll
us
two.
rolling particularly well last week either. So
Nope. But 2. So you experienced something similar to what happened when you tried to engage the mind of the wraith. And it just bounced off like it was shielded somehow. It is similar. It is not the same, right? Not trying to suggest it is the same thing, but there does seem to be some kind of peculiar obfuscation of Faye's mental process. So in learning that you can't connect, it would be reasonable for Vet to suspect that if you think it's reasonable for Vet to suspect.
That like something is blocking it.
Yeah.
Not that it's gone.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It might be gone, right? Probably not, right? I don't need to leave you in suspense in that regard. But the impression you're getting, the only thing is that, there's something blocking if it's there.
I feel like that would feel differently.
Cool. Yeah.
Like the mind of a dead person versus a mind you can't get into.
Yeah, fair enough. He's not dead.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to see if it had erased him, basically.
Yeah. Maybe not permanently. We'll see.
But yeah, I can't get in, but something's there.
Yes. Yeah, there's something. Don't know what it is, but there's something there.
I'm probably just gonna also chalk that up to I feel like taking off the like focusing headband just kind of gives her like a bad headache.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Because what it does is it like helps you focus the sort of latent psychic abilities.
Yeah. I like that descriptor, an explanation why it doesn't work. Like, I should have been able to do this. Oh, Dret, the comatose person who can't communicate has a thing that would have helped me communicate with them.
Oh no.
All right. Should I continue with description or the other things you all want to do?
you should continue.
Cool, great. And I have noted, Chris, that Reuben has something that can likely stop things if something.
Yeah, I
crazy
just don't know
occurs.
what it does to.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so more into this. I'm just like, all right.
So, the sound is isolated, and then you all hear what's the word for this? You all hear a voice that feels like you've been listening to it your whole life. And Faye is also going to intermittently experience something when this happens. So, you hear a voice say, "Identify yourselves."
Unless anyone else wants to jump in. Please we're experienced travelers.
It's
just
the
magic
cheat
card.
code.
It opens up all the doors.
And this is just like ambient around us that we hear this. Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
it is here around you. The sun is blazing down. Once the sound cut off, so that you didn't hear anything in the jungle. You're in a sound vacuum other than this. So Blaze says, "Experienced travelers."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm waiting to see if it responds.
Okay, great. So you hear a mirthful chuckle. Ha ha. Such arrogant wit. Do you have another answer?
I've played all the cards in my deck.
Blaze over here, like, we've tried nothing and we're out of answers.
Yeah. Break it.
Give it my name.
Same.
Just I'm Vet. I am a Jack. We arrived here from 1,000 years ago. There was a
1,000
translocation.
What'd you say?
The translocation.
Yeah, the AI says when you say 1,000 years ago, the AI's or the voice, not the AI, the voice says 1,019 years.
Oh, good.
Oh, you know the exact time. Good.
Then,
Do you know us then?
Reuven hears, your turn.
Small point of order. Chris had mentioned that they
Yeah.
were giving that Reuven was giving their name.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I misheard you. I didn't even hear that. I apologize, Chris.
You're good.
I really apologize. Okay, so scratch that.
Sure.
So then Faye hears, for your sake, I hope they prove their mettle. And then your consciousness cuts off again.
Oh boy. Hey, how's
So then,
your friend doing in there?
Your friend is percolating?
Mhm.
Yes, I believe that's an appropriate description for what's happening to his consciousness.
Sitting in boiling water? What?
This is Killing Craig. Are you like intentionally like sensualizing your voice, or is that just me hearing it that way?
Is that like smooth dulcet
happy
tones
Pride?
Yeah.
I am indeed intentionally sensualizing
Okay,
my
just
voice.
making sure I wasn't just in my
Yes.
head.
This is an incredibly emotional voice or version of a voice.
Real quick question.
yes,
Hey, are
yes.
you being intentionally horny, or is that just
Yeah.
Or is that all on my end?
Am I feeling some vibes for a good for justifiable reasons, or is that all me?
Yeah, was external stimuli or just in my head? Yeah.
That's right.
I'm getting like just because I'm getting like Borg Queen
Yes,
vibes, right?
that's a fair vibe.
Yeah.
I'm not specifically going for the Borg Queen, but I'm not dismissing that impression.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a different, like, familiarity of I know how to push buttons on people. This clearly seems like whatever it is highly capable of social interaction and perhaps manipulation. So I'm not trying to make you apprehensive, but if you're like, whoa, right, like this is not what I expected, that's a totally fair response.
Oh,
So then,
just because we were in this, was there enough room for Faye to introduce and say his own name, or is he just catatonic?
you didn't get the question.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
just double check.
You just heard like your conscience came back on and you just heard the statement, you better hope they prove their mettle.
And then they hit
That's
the
it,
suspend
without
button
context.
again. And
Yes, exactly.
you're stuck between clock ticks.
Yes, that's right, exactly.
Your process is sleeping.
Yeah. That's right. So Reuven introduced themselves. Then because Vet did, then Reuven, then the voice says to Blaze, do you have another answer?
Greg?
Your name?
Oh, right. Blaze Daveron.
Good. Now,
What?
I know that you know who you are, but you don't know who I am.
I got you there because just recently I don't really know who I am, but carry on.
Do tell. It might be relevant.
Your turn.
What
Fair
should
enough.
we call you?
I understand. Tit for tat. Call me Lanak.
One more time, just so I can have it for later.
Lanak.
Before I begin dedicating a small part of my mental processes to uninitializing that, is it an acronym?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
This is Ruben says this out loud.
Oh, gotcha. No, it is not an acronym. I
Okay.
chose that name thinking it might be easy for you to pronounce.
Okay.
If I gave you my preferred designation, I believe it would take you 10 days.
Okay. Should we go ahead and define whether this is going to be a adversarial relationship? Because I'm getting sort of a hostile vibe from how you're, maybe not hostile, domineering perhaps is the right word.
I suppose I can attempt to empathize with your position. Yet, I think it's a matter of perspective. I won't use a cliched comparison between humans and ants to suggest the difference between ourselves.
Okay.
What I will say is, I don't believe you could anticipate what I want. And what I want is not necessarily your demise.
Okay.
It will only be adversarial if you take the first step in that regard. And I'm happy to help you walk down that path if you so choose.
Okay. How about a good show of faith and you let our friend have their consciousness back?
Who says they don't have their consciousness?
You just said it was percolating.
That does not mean it's gone.
I'm aware of the definition of the word.
Yes, it is carefully filtering through a process that may aid your friend in the end. Depends upon the choices they make.
Okay.
You seem to know of us?
Yes.
What do you know of how we got here?
I know the process. I know the outcome. And I also understand the hubris involved.
I don't know that it was hubris. We weren't trying to leap through time. I would very much like to have not done this.
I understand that perspective. It is a common defense uttered by many who do things that have calamitous results. It is most easy. It is most easy to appreciate hubris in retrospect.
Do you know what happened to Good Boy?
Yes, I will not tell you.
Why?
I will not tell you. And then you hear a, oh, that's right. You don't have 100 years of playing this game with me. Good Boy had an experience. You had an experience.
I hate this thing.
Laze is 100% ready to start smashing.
I've forgotten her name. The
Aeon Priest
Elkanah.
Elkanah.
Yeah. Did he find Elkanah?
Are you Elkanah?
I am not Elkanah.
Did you used to be?
Good answer.
Oh.
Are you derived from Elkanah? Programmed by, created by any of these things?
You hear the sound of perfectly manicured fingernails tapping on a desktop, like someone's rolling their fingers. That's the impression you get through audio.
Weird.
Yes. So it is not exactly synesthesia, but what you hear is such a distinct sound that it reminds you of you having heard that.
Platonic Foley work.
Yes, exactly. That kind of thing. So, yes, that's exactly what it is. Just perfect articulation in that regard. So as though somebody is sitting patiently tapping their fingers, thinking about what to say. And they say, if it is easier for you to address me and think of me as Elkanah, you are free to do so.
Usually in these situations, like if Faye is already disassembling and I'm smashing, but if you guys want to play a different,
What's important? Just yet.
right? And stands back.
Switching to passive mode.
So now Faye feels their consciousness returned with a limiter on it. And you can now perceive what's happening. So, what Faye feels is that they are not able to directly engage whatever process they're connected to. However, they feel as though they haven't lost anything. Like if you wake up from sleep and you realize you fell asleep in a theater where everyone could have robbed you of everything, and you check your pockets and everything's there, but then you realize that you're held down and you can't move.
Sleep paralysis kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. But without the specters that make you feel like you're being killed or something. Like everything's clear and you have the internal experience that this is not necessarily dangerous. You're not in peril, other than the fact that you
can't move,
get out of it.
So your motor neurons have been shut down.
Yes, exactly. That kind of thing. So, Lanak or Elkanah, if you all are going to call it that, that's totally okay with you, or with Lanak. Lanak says, "Why did you really come to the beacon?"
To this beacon?
Yes.
We were searching for hope.
We were brought here.
Oh, yes. We didn't come here. The Lattimors brought us here.
We are essentially 4 idiots that have stumbled their way through all of these things.
He's right. You're talking to us like we're some kind of masterminds.
Yeah. I'll give up the sort of intellectual high ground that, like, we've just sort of made the best choices we thought we should at any given moment, and it's ended up with us being 1,019 years in the future, having, to our big dismay, having caused some sort of ecological disaster on the opposite side of the planet due to our teleportation, which we did not intend to even do.
We were trying to send a talking dog home, which sounds so insignificant. But
so let's just maybe meet us on that sort of level.
Very well.
That you're sort of, yeah. You're a powerful disembodied voice talking to 3 idiots and 1 passed out idiot. So
there's a flutter of eye movement.
That's so good. And that you can see that eye movement totally. That's so totally okay with me.
You can't talk back.
Yeah. So the Lanak says, as a show of good faith, I will disagree with your description of yourselves as idiots. I think you're well-meaning, and I think you've made choices that had unexpected consequences, which I reinforce is often the definition of hubris. However, I believe that you did not have any negative intentions. I asked the question about why you came to the beacon, not because I'm trying to ascertain whether or not I need to revise my stance on the likelihood of an adversarial relation. I asked because I might be able to aid you.
Okay. Well, we
So-
already got the elf, so
You can help us find a translocation that won't cause a disaster?
I'm not saying that.
okay.
Is that what you're looking for?
If it's possible, I would like to go home. But if it's going to do this somewhere else, I guess I live here now.
I have a philosophical question for me. I hope you're willing to entertain. Oh, sorry, philosophical question for you is what late next. I hope you'd be willing to entertain.
Sure.
If you cause devastation in the present through the unexpected result of something you do, and you regret that, would you regret what I would consider something like temporal devastation if you undo things that have happened to people, good things, as a consequence of you reversing a mistake you once made?
Oh, you mean like if we go back and then none of the people we have just befriended ever exist?
That is indeed exactly what I mean.
Faye doesn't know if his voice can be heard to Lanak, but there's a big, yeah, I don't know why they keep wanting to go back as if that's going to fix things.
You can hear your voice.
And I know it's weird because on the one hand, if we unwrite this history by going back, then none of these people ever existed. And therefore we can't have hurt them because they didn't exist.
Are you saying that there's only one timeline?
That if we are splitting into a new timeline, that might change things. But if we're in one loop, if we go back, then none of this ever happened.
Well, if it's a loop, then that's fine. If we're shifting to have not time traveled,
This is actually covered in the Tome of the Pentacle, now available in Drive Through RPG.
Yes. Lanak says, here's an ancillary question, which Reuven might be able to provide insight for. If you can't confirm that the experiences you once had were real, are they just as meaningful?
things we experience are real to us.
That is pithy and sufficient for me. I pose these questions because there is something I believe you might not have appreciated. And I don't think that is because of any particular deficit on your part. Temporal translocations have unexpected consequences, as we have established and discussed. Some of those can be, as those of earlier civilizations have realized, some of those can be the creation of alternate timelines that seem effectively the same with the absence of those you care about. Some of them can be the reversal of things that have happened and the elimination of the things you experienced after that point. And some of them can be a restart for you in a different time, yet you retain memories of the place you once were. And so I offer this as a bit of help in this journey you're on. Consider whether or not you'll be satisfied if what you intend to do does not result in what you want. Perhaps the translocation event that happened 1019 years ago transported other people Perhaps you were different before you came here. Perhaps there are things that you've forgotten. Perhaps there are things you can't get again.
Doubtful. At least on the forgotten part.
You're
I am
entitled to your
also
perspective.
somewhat torn because at this point in time, everyone I knew and cared about lived presumably fine lives. They might have mourned, they moved on, they lived. And if by erasing the existence of all of these people by going back, it's not like they're waiting for me, right? They're dead.
That is right. They are currently dead. Because none of them could have lived 1,019 years.
None of them?
They're not all exceptional adventurers.
None of the people I knew
It's true.
would have been plugging into machine brains or anything.
Then Lanak says, you should ask Faye what the consequences of her experimenting with technological longevity. And then all of a sudden Faye can engage.
Yeah, I'm not leaving because I'm not going to doom these elves to living in that hellhole without forward progress. If we don't arrive here, who saves them?
I mean, yeah, we already established all that. Thanks, Faye. Welcome to the conversation.
Is Faye actually speaking, or are we hearing Faye's voice through the ambient sounds?
Yes. All of a sudden, Faye is.
There was an or. Okay, so it's coming through the same speakers.
Yes.
I think the important part of the question you were trying to ask was, would we do things differently if it meant not? Would we be selfish in our desires to return if it meant undoing the good we've already achieved? And I don't know that is a question even worth engaging with, because I don't think any of us are that sort of selfish.
Well, I will once again emphasize a tremendous ecological devastation event that happened as a result of your rather, some would say, peculiar infatuation with an interesting animal. However, I don't mean to quibble. I merely mean to point out.
Made the dog talk if they didn't.
Got a point.
Quibbling about it, you know.
I mean, yeah, that needs to be a dev note, right?
I've been trying to be very respectful in how I answer the disembodied AI that might have sort of weaponized things hiding in this facility. But if you want to start being dicks to each other, then yeah, we had a curious attachment to the cool talking dog
who came to us asking for help.
To be fair, I was after the cyber arm.
That's yes.
I was just following Faye. I thought this was crazy from the beginning.
Also true.
But I'm here to support you. I'm in it.
But let Chris be clear, that was all 100% out loud in character.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
great.
I
loved it. I also observed how deliberate you've been about how Reuben's responses are at first, monosyllabic and respectful, and then eventually more elaborated on and also expressive. I love it. It's great. So Lanak says, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Lanak says, I am grateful you've now been honest in response to my probing questions. And I think the one who poses the questions is the best at determining whether or not they have value. However, I will, for your sakes, and in respect of, I think, an implicit request, in the philosophical discussion there, and provide you with a rather simple series of yes or no responses. First, I will assert that I believe Faye can determine that he is currently in possession of all of the memories he knows he once possessed. And you can suddenly rifle through all of your memories instantaneously.
Cool.
No, that's bad.
And then Faye also gets information about what led to his creation in the Convergence.
Immediately filing those away too. Nah.
Awesome. All right, I won't describe him.
Why
Great.
is
This
there
is
a
great.
folder here labeled "Times I Posted Cringe on Main"?
Yes, that's right.
But no. Like, I think there's this mental sorting real quick. I was like, oh yeah, these are all my memories. This is kind of cool. What's this folder? I really don't want to. Fine. Like,
I don't remember knowing that, and I would rather not.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Faye is insatiably curious.
So when you file that away, you receive or you experience the equivalent of a follow-up request. Are there any other memories you would like archived or deleted?
No.
Great. And then you feel the possibility of that eliminated. So then Lanak says, the first simple yes or no question is, do you have plans to maintain the beacon?
Faye, I think Faye, because hasn't brought it up to him, but Faye says that I kind of thought about setting this place up as a lab, but not necessarily for its intended purpose.
I more didn't want to leave someone plugged into it all the time, but having it as something you could go back and use as needed to keep track of things. Yes. But I don't want to condemn anyone to be in the tube forever.
Very well. Then all of a sudden, you see the tube start dissolving, is, I think, an appropriate term for this.
That's really freaky.
Like dismantling?
Melting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nanite style dismantling, like the reverse of nanite construction.
This does not bother Reuven. That's fine.
Just okay, so no more tube.
It's a unnecessary organ in the body of this installation.
The thing that has lasers in eyebrow is that if this AI can do that with that tube, it could probably do that with anything in this room, including us.
Probably not the ones that aren't hooked up to it.
Yep.
But yes, if you can operate it and there is no need for a person, then yes, I would say we maintain the beacon. Is there a reason we shouldn't?
Lanak says, I'm trying to keep the dialogue less elaborate than before to avoid upsetting.
Of course.
I probably know the answer to this, but what is your goal in this interaction?
Michael?
You initiated contact with us. You must have had some reason for doing so.
I initiated contact because Faye did a hubristic thing.
That is
one I'll give.
absolutely true, yes.
Yeah.
The hand comes up. Yep. It's on me.
That one I'll give.
So that was your contact to us was to initiate education.
My contact was an intervention. Faye nearly lost his consciousness into a yawning void. And when I said percolating, what I meant is Faye was trapped in a situation wherein his consciousness would have been dismantled thoroughly had I not been present to do something about it. He is definitely going to experience some consequences. And then immediately that memory is deleted in Faye's head of Lanak having said that.
What sort of consequences?
This is the best.
And then you hear a, huh. I can't tell.
Okay.
Big emphasis there. And this is Drew asking. Big emphasis on can't, not won't.
Yes, that's right.
But why have
And you
you
hear the contractions. This is not a,
Mm-hmm.
exclusively formal speaking entity, whatever it is.
But why male model?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the circular philosophical question that you could literally take any position on and be opposed to us, was that like to educate us, or were you trying to find out more about us?
Both. I think it's useful for the sake of a group to draw. Go ahead.
Debate
that Chris?
pervert.
What'd you say? I didn't hear
This guy's a fucking debate pervert.
that.
Oh, there's this inherent property that I feel like 99% of the tabletop players have, where they can't not be in charge or the coolest or whatever in whatever way that matters to that character and that thing. And that's part of like putting yourself into it. And like this is just like the character that is Reuven. This is like the most triggering possible interaction with an entity possible. And it's just like no, like you're like all the other fucking wizard, like tech wizards that I left to go live in the wilderness to get away from. You're so fucking infuriating. Just talk to us.
So yes, back to yes or no questions then, because you need to keep it simple.
Yes.
Even though things are rarely simple. But yes, for the purpose of continuing your questions.
Yes.
We will say yes to operating the beacon.
Very well. The beacon will remain operational. The next question is, are you going to leave the elves and the Lattimors behind?
No.
Great. Next question. Where do you want Jack to go?
Wherever Jack wants to go.
Jack,
it's not a
where do you
yes or
want
no
to go?
question, so.
That's fine. Jack, where do you want to go? And Jack looks around at you all. And here's a question for you, Ash. Has Vet yet told Jack about Jack's Haven?
Probably not.
Okay.
But it's just, you want adventures and stories, yes?
Yes.
There's not much opportunity for that here.
Okay.
if given the chance, I would go back and take Jack with me.
Hmm.
There's nothing that says we all have to, right?
That's right.
Do you know of? Will you tell us of? Can you tell us of any information on who the competing party for possible translocation?
Ooh, yes. You will not like to hear this. The two people competing for translations both had experience. And then you hear, huh?
They're experienced travelers.
Okay.
Were they from our time?
I see I was a little too subtle with that one. His name starts with G, and it ends with good boy.
Or in a race against Good Boy?
And Elkanah.
I see.
And you hear, perhaps.
Okay. You're right. That's the worst answer you could have given me. If it was like, yeah, there's like some dickhead that wants to go back in time to rule the world or whatever. Yeah,
Hakon somehow got transported.
You never met Hakon.
We
didn't.
were sus. We were very sus. All right.
Yeah. We inferred some things.
Inferences can it says inferences can be true and also be false.
Okay. I mean, you literally just said nothing.
But yes,
Statements can be true or false. See, look, I can do it too, dickhead.
I really
When-
do like how Ruben gave because Lenak. Anyway, this is good.
It's like Mystery Men when Mr. Furious was shit talking the Phoenix.
Yes, that's real good.
That was a poll.
would you tell us when Good Boy is trying to go?
I cannot tell you that.
3 years.
Yes, that is the time. I cannot
Okay.
tell you precisely when. I do not know. I also
Well, you
do
could
not
say 3
know.
years.
Yes.
No, I meant like where they're trying to end up, because I thought by reuniting them, that would have been what he wanted.
Unless Elkanah didn't want to be there.
I know not what his goal is, only what it once was. As do you.
Is Good Boy still a dog?
Was he ever a dog?
That should not take a pause.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of giving me an answer, huh?
Yeah, you hear it is silent, but you get like the vocally delivered impression or the sonically delivered impression of a head tilt.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lanak says, remember, if scared, paw. And then all of a sudden the sonic field disappears.
What?
All of a sudden you can hear the sound of the jungle return.
Okay.
And the voice of the AI is no longer in your head or no longer in your ears. Or the voice of Lanak is what I meant, not
Mhm.
AI.
Right.
I keep saying that, but I don't mean to say that. I'm not saying Lanak is not an AI, but I'm saying that I'm
Mhm.
not trying to say that Lanak is the native AI.
Okay.
Oh, that's 20 minutes
That
of my
was
life
not-
I'll never get back.
This Blaze.
Yeah. So,
I hope I had a character No one was actually displeased by that.
No, that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, awesome.
So, Good Boy is
Maybe still a dog.
maybe still a dog. Maybe
Somewhere
this
around here.
AI.
Could be somebody named Good Boy.
Hey, just in case you're still listening, I don't like you.
Just to put a pin on it.
I'm going to hold my hand out the way we did to the dog.
Mm.
And just
How are
sort
you
of
doing
look around.
Mm.
If scared paw. So
Hey,
this
are
Good
you
Boy
trapped?
would reach out and touch if they were frightened. So I'm reaching out to let them touch me.
Yeah. You don't
Nanites
feel-
rise up.
And you're right. I didn't say what happens with Faye. Faye suddenly has control over himself and can deactivate when he wants, and is able to engage the console extremely efficiently. So what Faye's experience is now is that Faye is can manage the functions of the complex, and what Faye now realizes is that the native AI was corrupted, and there was a problem. So the facility is not deactivated. If you want to actually restore function, you can. You need to make a roll. Restore perfect function, I mean, with the native AI. So have an opportunity. And then we will deal with the results, the consequence of that failed roll a little bit later.
Gotcha. I mean, for Faye, not interested in activating the AI.
Yep.
Should it seem that this is something he can come back to, basically plug back in now that he's...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, totally. Yep. You can come back at
and
another
not
time.
fall into the abyss again.
Right.
Yes.
So in that case, he brings the walls back up, and then sits up and unplugs and goes, "Well, that was fun."
I'm just going to reach out and take my thing off your head.
Yep. Thanks for that. I think it helped.
And I'd like you all to make a perception test.
I haven't done
Oh,
one.
sorry, that wasn't. I shouldn't say it. I didn't intend to say it.
It was sinister as fuck.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Please make a perception test.
What is its difficulty?
Difficulty 4.
Is that intellect?
Yes.
Sick.
Difficulty 4. I don't make a roll.
Excellent. So you automatically succeed. Let's see if anybody misses this. Okay, Blaze misses. Let's see.
Bruh.
Yeah. Oh, GM intrusion. Oh shit. Okay, let's see. How do we want to do this?
That's amazing.
Is there anything interesting here? Oh man. Because it doesn't matter, I'm actually not going to take that intrusion. I'm voluntarily not going to use an GM intrusion here because
if there's nothing interesting to intrude, then
there's nothing interesting to say here.
Cool.
Yep. So, but you don't notice this. Vet and Faye, because Drew didn't roll, because Drew didn't need to roll, chose not to roll. Yeah. Vet and Faye immediately notice that Jack is gone.
Where'd your buddy go?
He disappear when the AI left? When the voice stopped?
That was the last time you saw him. So that's a reasonable conclusion. But you didn't witness the event that happened.
Yeah, it was just sort of suddenly.
Yes.
They were beside me and now he's not.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
I'm going to try to mentally find him.
Ooh, cool. How are you going to do that? That's an awesome idea.
Do I have to be able to see to do mind reading?
Doesn't have a short range.
Let's see.
Yeah, sure.
You have to be able to see to do a mind reading.
Yeah.
Telepathy, you don't, but you must know that it's within range. So,
I'll say this: you don't
Can
have
you,
to spend any
convince
points. You
yourself?
Go ahead. What was that, Chris?
Can you convince yourself? I know they're here. Connect.
That's hilarious.
Maverick and the Gambler.
just have
Make
faith
it true.
that he's nearby.
You can likely determine this without needing to roll on trying to activate that he's outside of your range.
Faye, can you talk to it again?
I don't think I was really connecting with it, but yeah, let me see what I can do. And try and rifle through the settings and see if I can pull up security camera. Yeah, I guess any kind of sensor equipment or pass logs, or see if there's any of that was active at the time.
Yeah, you see there's a floor sensor active at the time.
What's it tell me?
Gives you like a holographic representation of entities present with some information. And the second that the audio isolation cut off, Jack disappeared from the sensor.
When the thing went away, so did Jack.
You're still laying on the ground.
I think at this point he's sitting up, but
Okay.
yeah, still connected.
Ruben's gonna go behind you at where you're connected, just yell at the port. If you're hiding in there, inside of my friend's brain, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna figure out how to put you in a different person's body, and then I'm gonna kick your ass.
That is so good.
Aww.
That is so good.
And at this point, I'm panicking because, I have befriended this guy who's sort of like a mentor type relationship, and he stayed here with me when all the others had moved on, and now he's gone, and she took him. That's where my brain's going, whether it's true or not.
Yeah, from Vet's perspective, that makes sense.
That when the voice went away, so did my friend.
Yeah. Two things were simultaneous.
So I'm probably just gonna yell at the ceiling.
All right, that's 2 votes for making this AI have a body to kick its ass.
Just what did you do?
Not entirely sure that was an AI.
I mean, I don't know anything about AIs. Do they talk like that?
Not usually. That was unless they are so advanced that they decide to take on human affectations.
It took Jack.
Do you have a... Can you see the word Lanak? Or in any of your memory representations? Ruben wants you to be able to tell him if Lanak is Elkanah fucking rearranged.
Right.
So that's what I'm hearing. Picturing in because you also didn't type the word
right
out.
Oh, fair enough. It is spelled Laenak.
N-I-C?
N-A-K. It is indeed an anagram of Elkanah, because anagrams of other words are not. That does not mean that it is intentionally that way. Right? It is definitely an anagram of Elkanah. Yes, it has the same letters, exclusively the same letters. I just mean It isn't
Mhm.
necessarily the case that somehow this was created and it was named this as a
Mhm.
deliberate.
But it is a
end for
curious
everyone else.
coincidence.
Yes, exactly. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Faye sits back and like, okay, hang on, let me look through whatever I can, and while doing so, especially as we come to the 9 o'clock hour, at least for me, pulls open that folder of like Convergence forgotten like reason why he exists, and he's like, there's no
Ooh.
chance Elkana is my really, really weird guardian angel, is it?
Yes, there is. Okana's your mother.
Ooh! And that's the cliffhanger.
Please, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out that Lanik is actually like some version of Good Boy.
Could be.
That's
The
what I
reference he
was
threw out
worried
before.
about. Yeah.
was pretty specific and on the a little too on the head.
Good Boy had an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know how fucking ominous that phrase is?
Yes, you had an experience. It's great because it's
Yeah,
the
and we
best
haven't
way to
been
be
having fun with it.
I know, but it's the best way to be honest without giving things away.
Yeah.
Is Good Boy a dog?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's an answer, actually.
He's a dog, anyways.
Yeah, see? You see
How
what
do you
I'm saying?
define dog?
That's
Like,
right,
It
exactly.
exists in a dog-shaped body.
Was he a dog?
It's a fun thing to be mad
Yeah,
at.
that's the thing too. It's like, was Good Boy a dog?
Yeah.
I
Who
mean,
knows?
as Ruben says, totally an Aeon priest.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew that he didn't think like a dog, which is
Mhm.
why I was so intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, think about it.
also,
You take a
where's
dog
my
mind
friends?
and give it a huge amount of processing power and storage.
Yes. Yeah. What happens? You know about uplifted animals? Good Boy wasn't uplifted exactly, but Good Boy was weird. You also know that Good Boy was a puppy and interacted with people, right? Or a small version of who Good Boy is. I'm not saying Good Boy isn't a dog, right? But you know, to
Mhm.
support the line of thought you're going down.
Yep.
Who knows? It's a lot of information. You know,
Well,
Both their answers.
I was
And-
fully expecting to talk about like doing some farming or something for like 3 hours tonight. This is
Sorry, I had to plug myself
certainly
in.
taking a turn.
This is what?
So it's certainly taking a turn.
It's true. We were like, yeah, so we're gonna set up for a time skip. Nah.
Yep. That's what would have happened if you hadn't plugged in.
I feel like this happens every time. We're like, hey, I think we're gonna like sort of extrapolate some stuff, maybe do a little
Mhm.
time skip. We're like, hey, but what if?
Yeah. That's good.
And Drew's like, yeah.
Well,
Yup.
and, like Faye is built to do exactly that. Right?
Oh yeah.
It's so good. It's perfect.
Hilarious.
So, I guess we should leave it there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I am so have enjoyed, continue to enjoy this campaign. As you have observed, the players and characters are fantastic. So they give me a lot of opportunity to explore the things I like about it, and also to see wonderful responses to intriguing things that might or might not be adversarial. Who knows, right? Again, you never know. We hope you join us next week if you're able, or if you want to delay and catch us videotaped and recorded. That's totally fine. We thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon, joining us on Discord. Any new listeners that would like to do either of those things, you can find us on Discord at yeetinto.space or on Patreon at staylucky.club. We again want to give a shout out to Monty Cook Games for making the excellent cipher system that allows for considerable crunch, along with a lot of narrative control for both the players and the GM. And I think this is a good demonstration of why it's a worthy system for consideration for lots of people out there.
Mhm.
With that said, anything else I'm forgetting you all want to share?
I
Daily
mean,
crimes.
Yes, we gay do crimes. Exactly.
I was gonna say be kind, rewind, but yours
Yeah.
is better.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Alrighty, y'all.
Okay.
See you soon. Be
Everyone.
curious. Stay curious.